Hi, everyone. So, back at the beginning of this year, I said it was going to be a year of upgrades, and it definitely has been that. Anyone who needs bigger enclosures has been getting those, and any enclosures that need improving are getting that. And I'm super excited about today because next in line for that big enclosure upgrade is my giant day gecko, Carl. Carl's been living in this 18 by 18 by 24 hexagon Thrive enclosure. And it's been okay, but it's really something that is a minimum size for him. Plus, I've never been thrilled about the way I set this enclosure up, and Carl is way overdue for an upgrade. I've had Carl for about 3 years now, and I've gotten to know Carl well enough to know some things about what he likes and doesn't like in his enclosure. So aside from giving him something much bigger, I think I can set something up in a way that he'll be really happy with. One thing I know about Carl is that he only likes very smooth surfaces and doesn't like rough surfaces at all. So I'm not putting any kind of background on the back and sides, just glass. And the bamboo limbs have been good for him, but honestly, I don't like bamboo. Being completely straight means there's only so much you can do design-wise with how you place them in the enclosure. So I need to use some other type of wood that gives him a lot of climbing space but still has a smooth surface. And I know the perfect solution: sycamore branches. I don't have any sycamore trees where I live, but I know exactly where I can find them. I drove a couple hours to a country road that runs alongside the Wabash River, and there are sycamore trees everywhere there. I love the way sycamore branches look. They have a very smooth surface, so Carl should like them, and I love the different colors of white and beige and gray. This is also an excellent place to see bald eagles. And while I didn't see any eagles on this trip, I was able to find just the right pieces of wood. Another thing about Carl is that he doesn't like plants. That might be unusual for a day gecko, but Carl clearly avoids any of the plants in his current enclosure. And when the plants start getting overgrown, it becomes obvious that he's not happy about it. So this presents a challenge for me. I want to create something beautiful, but I also want to put Carl's wants and needs as the first priority. A bigger enclosure will help, but I'm going to keep things pretty simple, which is okay with me because my design style pretty much revolves around keeping things simple. For Carl's new enclosure, I'm using this 18 by 18 by 36 Zoomed skyscraper. It's going to give Carl so much more space. And I started by covering the back and sides with black window film. The first thing I need to do is set up a drainage layer. And for that, I'm sticking to the way I like to do that, which is the false bottom built from egg crate light diffusers. Like usual, I've cut out a hole big enough for a piece of PVC pipe to fit into, and that's going to give me access to drain the water from the bottom if I need. Then I covered that with mesh to separate the substrate layer from the drainage layer. This enclosure is tall, and these limbs are pretty heavy, but with enough fiddling around, I managed to get them in and place them the way I liked them. And then I added a thick layer of ABG mix as substrate. For plants, I've chosen a couple of Dieffenbachias and a small fern. And then I covered the rest of the bottom with a garden of moss. I got Carl a new feeding ledge and went with the Magnatural feeding ledge that attaches with strong magnets. It looks nice, but more importantly, I won't have to deal with suction cups failing and the feeding ledge falling to the ground. For heat and UVB in this enclosure, I'm doing something a little bit different and using a mercury vapor bulb that provides heat as well as UVA and UVB all in one bulb. And I have some additional HID lighting for the plants. I'm really happy for Carl to finally have a bigger space, and I really love the way this vivarium looks. At some point in the future, I'll be putting another one of these just like this next to it as an upgrade for the anoles. But for now, I'm so excited to see Carl in his new home. So it's time to get Carl out and into the new enclosure, and this is going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. For any of you who have never cared for a giant day gecko, they are very skittish and lightning fast. I don't want to be figuring out how to get Carl off of the ceiling, and I don't want him getting hurt. But I took it slow and gentle, and moving Carl out luckily went pretty smoothly.